and welcome back to Animation Technically, and today we're looking at some old stuff I did as part of the indie DB and mod DB scene a good few years ago, probably longer than a good few years actually. So I used to like doing anything that looked interesting. I used to like to try and help out on. I'd never done anything in the realm of an RTS game, so when the opportunity to make a whole new faction for Command & Conquer 3 came up, I kind of jumped on it. I'm using 3D Max for this. I actually had to download and use 3D Max 9 for the time, which was the 2007 version, I think. So this is software from a long time ago. Using mods now that don't exist in the game, so you can't look at these with textures on. This is really all I have, although I do have some footage from the mod which I'll show as well in action. But you can see here, it was just taking the buildings, and if we remove this plane, I'll be able to show you what goes on in the animations. So it might seem simple, and it really is, because the rigs themselves are just lots and lots of dummies, because in Max you can use dummies fairly easily in place of bones, and it makes organising a lot easier, but there's nothing much to organise. I've just parented each part of the mesh, stripping it out. I wanted to have some motion on, and literally pulled it down at frame 0, and as I can scroll the timeline, you can see these parts are slowly coming up in the timeline, so they're getting moved to where I want them. So again, it's 3D Max, so you can put something in box or a point. It's still just a dummy object, as you can see. You can change how you display stuff. When it comes to displaying bones of any kind, 3D Max does have Maya be in the ways to display things for optimal representation of the volume, or just making things neater. I've done some color coding myself, but not much. This in the game is a translucent object. I'm just going to delete it here so you can see the stuff that happens inside as well. I wanted a sense of movement to happen, so you can see these bits moving in the game as well. They've got little static animations on, they play, so you get a sense of it. But you can see it's just trying to get a sense of how the animations works in the early Command & Conquer games. I say early now, the series itself is fairly dead in the water, unfortunately. But it's just about bringing everything together in a way that looks like it's slowly being built up. Obviously, you know, within the realm of what you could do at that time. And even then I based what I did on the original Command & Conquer games, not so much in Command & Conquer 3. So as you can see, here's a different unit that has a bit more complicated things going on to it. Obviously there's a lot more bones in this to facilitate the radar dish, but what I've done is just made it look like each radar dish is slowly spawning out from each one. That's not what's happening here. Obviously the whole radar dish is there, and it's just all underground happening, and everything is just spawning out as needed. You can see the visibility on each object toggling as it slowly builds up. Again, cheap and cheerful, because you don't see any of this happening in the game because it's all under. So it's a clever way to hide it when you don't have the ability to animate scale, or you don't have the ability to animate the visibility. It's just using tricks like this, as I've done on a lot of other animations, again with the bits here. And you can see the little laser that comes in at the end as well. This is a graphic in the game, but it's just for reference. But it's just making things simple look like there's more happening when it's really just a series of bones. And while I have quite a lot of these, I only have the rig still for a couple of them. So this is the last one I could show off, which is just, again, a series of blocks all brought up. So this was done really easily because it was just a case of having everything happen in one motion. Let's just remove that. And then grabbing individual bits and offsetting their frames on the timeline. So everything happens a frame or two after, which is just enough to put stuff happening out of sync. But it means you can have a lot more movement happening when the movement itself is really simple. And you can see a little glitch there as well happening, which has to be sorted out. But again, lots of bones, simple objects, but brought to life through just creative application of very simple rigging. And even then, there's no skinning happening here, so the setup itself didn't take that long either. But I hope you enjoyed this little dive into just some creative modding, and hopefully it'll give you ideas for rigging stuff like this, whether you're doing mobile games or anything else, just to inspire you to try things differently. And see you next time.